I remember when I first rode a bike, it was a little Schwinn, I think, with training wheels and these big wooden blocks on the pedals, like about this thick, so that I could reach the pedal. And then I remember my father.
I think I was around 3 or 4 years old, and my dad said, hey, if you want to ride a bike, don't use side wheels. So my dad helped me, and after 3 times putting me on the bike, I could ride on my own.
I just remember the sun.
Sun's coming out. I said the sun's coming out.
And going down a bank on it, and just the excitement of the wind hitting your face and all that, going half a mile an hour.
My grandma, she gave us our first bicycles when we were in the age of 6 or 7, with a huge bell on it, with a ding-dong. I love the bicycle.
For me, it was important to have a red bicycle. It doesn't matter how much change, how much gears, what kind of brake, it must be red.
My granddad, Davidson, had been holding the back seat, and I was doing fine until I realised that he was miles away. And he used to just live around the corner for me, and he had a tricycle, and it had like a boot that you could put stuff in the back. It was my first real friend, and he let me have a go. And so I associate the beginning of my first friendship and kindness with a tricycle.
For me as a small boy, a big bicycle for my uncle, and the first ride finished after 10 meters in a fence of a garden.
I got on the bike and I just got on the seat and started down the driveway, and I got balance, and hey, great, away I went.
Yeah, that exciting feeling of freedom. It's just like walking. You can't remember anymore how hard it was to get on the bike.
And, it was very liberating, liberating. Mobility, my first mobility.
Sun's coming up.
Well, I'm a builder of things that are about community, about bringing people together. And the bikes that I've been doing now are an outgrowth of my art, mobile public art. The bike is starting to take on all these different meanings. Corporate team building groups are using them. Therapy groups are using them. So it's becoming a tool, and that's what's really interesting to me. Now, as an artist, I've taken something that I can now replicate and get out into the world for many people to use. It's a wonderful way to get around, and it's a wonderful way to combine being in shape and experiencing the weather. It's faster than trams and it's faster than taxis. The cars are completely gridlocked here.
Some sand in there. Here's the Charleston. Oh, strange but true, strange but true. Now we got those Dougville blues. Oh, strange but true, strange but true. Now we got those Dougville blues. All right, come on. Yep, 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 yep. Now we got those Dougville blues.
The desire, the emotion for cycling is important. It's not that it is just for business only. That by creating new product, by innovating new product, by developing new bicycles, the bicycle can have a contribution to human being and to the world. every single development is important, but especially in today's intense traffic and more complicated mobility, bicycle in general, but especially folding bike, can have a great contribution.
Some sand today. Here's the Charleston.
My daughter Georgie's got cerebral palsy, which means she has a lack of balance, not much strength in the legs, also restricted hand movement. Her previous bike was a trike built by George Longstaff, a lovely little trike, but as she got bigger it became rather dangerous in toppling over, a bit top heavy. So we started looking round. I actually tried a Haaser Catweasel, which I found was remarkably stable. Even when I tried to tip it over, I failed. It seemed suitable and required some modifications. The first thing was obviously necessary, which was the pedals with AFOs, splint supports to keep Georgie's knees from turning inwards, which they normally did. So that was fairly straightforward. The next problem was to do with braking. Georgie can't pull conventional handle grips to brake. The first option we went for was a brake which Georgie simply leaned on, which we bolted onto the bike. That worked quite well. Tended to slew the bike because it worked more on one disc brake than the other side. Changing gear we'd just not bothered with. Because Georgie didn't have much leg strength, it was simply kept in the highest or lowest gear, whichever way you look at it, to give a maximum leverage. However, now we've put on a big lever which Georgie can manage quite well to change gears. We reduced the size of the front chainring to a very small ring to maximise the gearage. Another modification was to get Haaser's own bar extensions and put bar ends on them so Georgie's hand fell into positions that were comfortable for her. And that's where we are at the moment. We're looking at the Pinot now. The reason for that is that the tandem we've got, whilst it's been very good, Georgie's viewpoint is the small of my back and not too interesting for her. And the other disadvantage is that being small and behind me, she doesn't see the bumps coming and hits them quite hard, which means it's not very comfortable for her. A bike with her in front in a very stable seating position might be suitable. We've had expert cycling advice from people like George Longstaff, but very little source of advice from people who've been through this whole process before. And you know, I'd be delighted if anyone wanted to get in touch to find out what we've done.
Some sand today. Here's the Charleston.
Each good idea has both sides, and so it needs a lot of calculating good ideas, optimizing. It took about, I think, 3 years to developing this actual design of the speed hub. It's also very important to have good people who help you to realize the ideas, to calculate on the computers, to make the drawing. We have a lot of ideas, really a lot of ideas, but the result of good ideas are a lot of work.
I'm Peter Soden. I'm a senior lecturer in mechanical engineering at UMIST.
Well, my name is Robert Prosser. I'm a lecturer at UMIST. What we've been trying to do is develop an alternative to the push bike. And each year we've tried to introduce a new engineering angle.
It's got to be a recumbent, and it's a recumbent commuter vehicle.
So we tried to reflect that in the trials around UMIST campus themselves. So they have to ride off curbs, up curbs, over speed bumps, round very tight bollards, past people. However, if we just give them an obstacle course to go around, then we'd end up with 100 kilograms of stainless steel push bikes. So we wanted something that would go fast as well.
Yeah, it's been good. It's a lot of hard work. We put in a lot of hours because one of the things broke at the front, so we were in Saturday and Sunday. The one thing is that when you're trying to change gear under torque, the hub tends to skip gears. That's one of the faults of it. But I got a few bits of help from my cyclist friends, so that's captain of Manchester University racing team and the secretary. They helped me out a lot.
Often consulted with us and just asked our advice, because you can calculate a lot as regards cycling and regards bicycle design, but there's an awful lot comes down to experience.
Have you actually ridden the recumbent that's been produced by the two-wheel team?
I haven't yet, but if there's time at the end, I'm hoping to have a quick go. Well, that was an experience anyway. My biggest concern is the steering.
Our most significant difficulty has been with the steering, to try and achieve a steering mechanism that is stable with minimum slack, strong enough to support the strong steering forces for under-seat recumbent steering, and also able to fold.
The fold went very, very, very well this morning. It took about 25 seconds to collapse it and just a bit more to uncollapse it, so we're pretty chuffed.
For the workplace, I found it useful for the fact of working with other people.
Teamwork, things like that. Crisis management.
They've done embarrassingly well. I'm really rather sickened. They've done very well. It's all been a first-class performance.
So they've just finished on the track then?
Yes.
Do you feel like a proud father?
Brilliant. Yep. I'm very, very pleased. Yeah, excellent. Yeah. Good performance all round. They've beaten the one on the general performance tests, and on the speed test they're getting about 80% of what we expected, which is first class.
Well, the first recumbent that we made, in theory, couldn't ride at all because it got negative trail and the geometry was in such a way that was really bad design. But we learned to ride it. You can ride on a unicycle if you want to. It's more a question of freeing your mind than actually learning. You have to really want to ride a recumbent, sit on it, relax for a minute, don't start pedaling immediately. Just sit on it, feel the comfort of the seat, put your feet safely on the ground, and then start pedaling. And it just takes you 5 to 10 minutes, and usually people come back with that thing that we call the recumbent grin. Everybody thinks, hey, this feeling is great.
Some sand in there. Here's the Charleston.
Oh, strange.
It's a slowly advancing thing, but if we look at the media coverage that we get, the stories change from these weird things for weirdy beardies to high-tech advanced machines. And people they're all asking for it. I think they're still hesitating to actually buy one, try one, but as soon as they got a more positive image, people will. It's more the lifestyle that you like. If you like cycling and like a relaxed, lean back position, and recumbents are perfect. And we've got recumbents for the young and sporty. We've got recumbents for people who want to sit more upright and more focus on the comfort point. So recumbents are fine for every age.
Some sand in there. Here's the Charleston.
Here he comes, are you ready? Nice work if you can get it. Every step of the way, my heart shines for you. Every step of the way.
It's brilliant, I really like this.
I haven't been to one of these events before, but it's very exciting having it just around the corner from where I live. Here we're really keen and enthusiastic. There isn't a soul here tonight that hasn't had a go on at least 4 bikes, so I think it speaks volumes when we can actually road test them like this. It's terrific. Thanks for doing it.
If you follow that line.
The event's fantastic because Encyclopedia is great, but seeing something in print is one thing. Getting onto a bike, trying it out, it's fantastic. Not only that, but I hope that there'll be other people who've not been on bikes or not even seen them in print before, who'll try these things out and suddenly say, this is fantastic.
Well, the Linear, it's the first time I've ridden a long wheelbase recumbent, and I must say it's the nicest bike I've been on, I think, in my life.
If I only had to have one bike, it would be a Fat. It's cool, it's funky, it's fun, it turns heads.
It makes a difference to everything when we tune into universal love. Every little step.
Yeah, the Swiss Flyer, and it felt like I was doing all the work, except I realised I wasn't. And I can get to the middle of Oxford twice as fast, which is just fantastic.
Watch it grow. We are here, we are here, we are here to nurture nature now.
And I liked the recumbent trike, the green speed, excellent, really cool.
Every little step of that way, my heart shines for you.
First time on a recumbent. And the one thing I was worried about with the recumbent was feeling nervous in traffic. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. You can see everything coming almost better than you can on an ordinary bike.
Cause you're a guardian of love.
Cycling on this, you can see the road, you can see where you're going, you can see the countryside. I just dream of having a bike like this to cycle around the countryside on a hot sunny day. Fantastic, absolutely fantastic. You know, look, just think about it. To make a man's dream come true, it could just this, and I'd be happy. Does that sound too much to ask?
It's demonstration of what we're doing cheap.
Skink. The wolf, the badger, the beaver, and the bear. The mighty eagle flying in the air has got his eye on you and me. 'cause you's a guardian of love. Automatic feed.
I mean, I think just bicycles in general are really good for everybody at this time. You know, it's so easy to just jump in a car. And it's a really violent thing to do, actually, jump in a car and start it off. I mean, Julian Cope had it just when he was talking about Autogeddon. I was flying into Barcelona once and you just looked down at this metal flying along these funnels of roads, metal like locusts spinning around, all this metal that's flying. So a bicycle, I think it's definitely a step in the right direction. A human being taking the responsibility to pedal somewhere. It's going to take longer, it's going to be harder to do, but I think it's got to be the right way. Like.
I also think of it as like this Christo. You know, Christo was the guy that covered mountains and bridges with fabric. And now I think of myself as covering the world with these bikes. You know, I want, wherever I go in the world, I want to see one of these bikes. You know, I'll be coming out of a taxi or a train. There's one of my bikes. People smiling.
The thing I still remember was when I was 7 years, so I was able to cycle. I stole my father's rainbow jersey as a world champion, the original one, the silk one, and I made a terrible crash in the corner. So I was damaged, but far more important was that the jersey was completely gone, and that I still remember. Yeah? So maybe the first time I cycled, I still know, but that made a big impression on me. Yeah.
It was a little red one, and it used to be my sister's. I actually stole it. I'm probably the youngest bicycle thief ever. And of course, I fell down, a lot of crying. My mom asked, "What did you do?" I said, "Cycling."
Well, just keep them back. They'll take over, man. Don't be afraid of the shadows in this life. Don't feel alone in the darkness. You will never be lost if you follow that light. You gotta let love guide your heart. If you only let love guide your heart.